Go ahead. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, September 8th, 2025. This is the initial meeting of the Pilots Arts Advisory Commission. It is 3:05 p.m. Would you please rise and join us?
No, you're good.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3 is public comment. Do we have anybody who would like to offer public comment to start with our meeting?
I'm not aware of anybody.
Hearing none, we'll take no action on item 3. Item number 4 from the regular agenda. Item 4A, receive introductions and welcome to the Pilot Arts Advisory Committee.
Good afternoon, committee. My name is Michelle Cochran. I'm the one that was emailing with you, making sure that your training was done. I know I've met you all and had a little bit more interaction with Albert. And so I look forward to working with you all on this. I will be your liaison for this committee. And I appreciate the judge and Commissioner Coronado coming in to welcome you. So if you wouldn't mind, we'll introduce staff real quick. Caesar and then Chris, if you would like to introduce yourselves, and then if we could go around and introduce yourself to one another, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Cesar Nava. I'm the Commissioner's Court Recorder, stepping in here to assist with this meeting today.
Oh no, that's Stephanie, our internal staff. Sorry, Stephanie, you're going to get an introduction to her in just a moment.
I'm Christopher Hernandez. I'm an assistant county attorney. I am assigned to the commission to help you all out with any questions that y'all have. So you'll see me here at all your meetings.
So this is the internal staff, if you will, from admin, and then the attorneys that is assigned to every court, commission, or committee that the Commissioner's Court establishes here at the county. So for the admin side of it, if you all wouldn't mind, just if you want to start here, yeah. Introduce yourself, history, and.
Well, my name is Javier Aguilar. One of the many roles that I have, I'm actually the program manager for Masters in Leadership Studies at UTEP, and also I'm a faculty there at the university and also at APCC. Besides that, I'm the president for Paso Sun City Pride here in El Paso.
Am I allowed to ask a question? Could they say what precinct they're representing?
Sure. Thank you so much, Stephanie. If you wouldn't mind just saying.
Yeah. I'm going to be representing precinct number 1.
Hi, Sydney Gallier. Most people call me Sid. Representing precinct 4 for Commissioner Coronado, right? Yep. Yeah. Sorry, I just always call him such a go. But so what do? I hold a couple different hats. So I'm the executive director of the Maryland Park Shakespeare Festival. I'm the office assistant for El Paso Opera. And then I am an employee for High Desert Native Plants. And by proxy, that means Keystone Heritage Park. So I wear multiple hats where I do lots of arts things and then lots of wildlife and plant education work.
Hi guys, my name is Edward Nathaniel Reyes. I'm a local filmmaker. I've been making films for about 18, 19 years. I own a gallery called Galeria Cinco Puntos that we ran for like 5-6 years. We had 150 or so exhibitions, all nonprofit. So nonprofit, it was negative profit. I do plays, I write plays also, and then that's where I know Sid from. And I just like making art in any way and allowing other people to make art in any way. And I'm a restaurateur, and that's how I get money. So I open a bunch of, not open them, but I work for a guy named Austin Allen, and then he opens stuff, and then I make his cocktail menus, and then I help him train his staff, and just do that forever until the movies make money. So let's see.
Good afternoon. My name is Albert Alvides. I'm a member of the Acera del Sur Pueblo Tea Indian Reservation. I'm a potter. I've been doing pottery for over 35 years. hold many hats. I'm a former elected official for our village. I was a tribal governor and served as a council member, held many different roles, cultural center director, and so forth. Worked with the Museum of Indian Arts and Culture out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I serve as vice chair of the Indian Advisory Panel.
And so Albert is precinct 3, and Eddie is precinct 2. Awesome. Thank you all so much. And then just because we have other staff here in the room, they may or may not be here every time, but Alexis is with our audiovisual team. So we're streaming live on YouTube right now. He's the one making sure this is all ready to go. I know the judge briefly introduced Henry. Henry, if you want to go ahead and introduce
Hi,
yourself.
my name is Henry Castillo, and I work for the judge and part of his team.
Then, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm an attorney for David Stone.
And then Stephanie, you'll get a presentation from her in a bit, but she will be a familiar face to this committee. So Stephanie, if you want.
Stephanie Otero, I'm Vice President of Operations for the El Paso Community Foundation, and I'll be hoping to support one of the projects you'll be discussing today.
Awesome. Okay, we can go on to B2.
Item 4B, receive a presentation regarding the roles, responsibilities, policies, and limits of the Pilots Arts Advisory Committee.
Good afternoon, Committee Michelle Cochran, County Administration. Let me get the presentation up. But where's the other one? Where's today's subject?
Here's the mission.
And that is why Alexis is here. That would have taken me much longer. So this is just an orientation administratively. I know you did your training. We'll touch on that. But that is your statutory required training that we have in our policies that the court requires of all board members. So this is a little bit of history of how this was established, why we're here, why the court has created this committee. So the purpose is for you all to be established as a pilot committee. So as Commissioner Coronado kind of said, he's not the artist, right? People, we can plan, but we need experts in the field. And this is new to El Paso County. And so you all are here to provide advice to the court and the Chief Administrator's Office to advance and enrich the arts and cultural activities and policies within El Paso, which includes but is not limited to assisting with the development of and implementation of the Arts Master Plan. And I'll touch on that a little bit more in just a moment. So just history, context, and history of the funding and establishment of this committee. So a couple of years ago during the pandemic, if you'll recall, the federal government set up ARPA, and El Paso County had received several tranches of funding to help the community out. At that time, the court requested that some money be set aside for arts and artists in El Paso to help artists get back on their feet. As you know, many people suffered during did more digging on arts committees, what other cities and counties had them. The value of them quickly was evident. Ultimately, though, funding is always an issue with anything, right? Not just arts, but or a taxing entity or local government. And so funding is not infinite for us, right? And we are up against some budgetary constraints currently, but the court was adamant about protecting that fund. And so they were able to protect $600,000 total right now. And that has resulted in a couple of things. So next, 381 agreement with the Community Foundation. So right now, what Stephanie will present on after this item is each precinct is getting $55,000 each to do with it essentially what they want. And we have really cool ideas from every single precinct on what they want to do with that money. And it's all different. And I won't speak too much on that because you're going to get a great presentation in just a moment, but just want to give you a context and history of that. And so when we say Pilot Arts Advisory Committee, the reason every single one of those words is important is because unfortunately at this time, the funding is finite for this. Ideally with the establishment of the Arts Master Plan, with that, we need that in place to apply for funding for federal grants and things like that. That will help us secure future funding, but that is not necessarily guaranteed. And so that's why you're here. You're going to help us with all of this. This is a new avenue for El Paso, and we're really excited to have you all subject matter experts here to help us. So the duties, we're going to refer to the handout that was in your folder in front of you, because the court was very diligent when they established this committee. And so you'll see section 3, there are many duties that they have entrusted upon this committee during this time. And so you have things, of course, as attending meetings, conferences, public hearings, or forums as needed, ensure appreciation of the arts, encourage cooperation and coordination amongst everybody in El Paso, recommend things to the court and admin programs to support local artists, for ongoing feedback, again, policies. We do an annual written report for every board, commissioner, committee. I do take care of that as the liaison. I bring it to you though for your approval to make sure you're okay with everything that's included on it before we do present it to the court. So you'll be doing that next year around this time. Provide any suggestions for programming, workshops, educational events, or projects. Collecting and sharing information with the court regarding anything around the arts. So you really are the courts or your elected officials' feet on the ground specifically for arts. If there's anything, so oftentimes, not oftentimes, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes people want to donate to the county, but it's not always as easy as that sounds. It's not always easy to just accept a gift or something and then give it away, right? There has to be legal findings. This is why we have county attorneys here. We have to have certain things that have to be met when it comes to public funds. So we are here to guide you through that, but then you'll be making recommendations to the court regarding that when it should come up. Of course, working cooperatively with other agencies locally, attending activities or programs throughout the county with a specific focus on county initiatives. So as those develop, the court is depending on each of you all to make sure that you're highlighting that and supporting that. Focusing on the goals assigned by the court, providing constructive feedback or suggestions to the court regarding creative placemaking initiatives that may exist, and identifying gaps and assessing community needs relating to arts and cultural activities, reviewing and suggesting grant awards as directed by the County Commissioner's Court of Staff. And then you all may create additional ad hoc committees as necessary to address specific issues or perform specific project tasks. This one is neat that members of the ad hoc committees do not need to be part of this Pilot Arts Advisory Committee. So you guys, if there is something particular that comes up in your precinct, you all can create an ad hoc committee with a group of community members, for example. The only thing is, you'll remember in your training, it just can't contain 3 of you all, otherwise that's considered a quorum, and so we would have to post it as an official meeting. And then, of course, you all must comply with our uniform rules and procedures. That is a long document, so I did not print that out, but I'll email that to you. It's also on our website for you to access, should you want to. And then I spoke about the arts projects and the 55,000. You'll get a more detailed presentation on that in a moment. And then the Arts Master Plan. There's a separate agenda item for us to discuss the Arts Master Plan. But right now, with the funding that we do have, these are the 2 big things that this committee has on its plate. Of course, as you all know, these are the training requirements. These are the trainings you already completed prior to your appointment to the board. Any questions on those? Chris, did you want to add anything particular to this?
Just if you have questions regarding the Open Meetings Act, PIA requests, I don't anticipate y'all getting a lot of those, but if y'all do county ethics rules, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm not here to prevent you from doing your work, quite the opposite. I just want to help you all, so feel free to ask away.
The only question I have is what does ad hoc stand for?
As needed?
As needed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Let's say you start a project and you need some help. I'm sure you guys have a team of artists that help you do a rendering. You know, if you want to get your group together, that would be an ad hoc committee.
Okay, cool.
Your responsibilities, just to be aware of Commissioners Court, which occurs every Monday right now and every third Thursday of the month. Just good for you all to be aware of what's going on. And I think the most important part, what I've seen specifically with these advisory committees or commissions that the court sets up is you may get, we've seen it with other ones, local organizations coming to you all asking for money. People often think the county has an abundance of money to give, and frankly, that's just not realistic. And so those may be in the future if there is a set funding source set up where you would establish policies around that. But that's one thing where I do think it's wise of you all to be cognizant of is the budgetary standpoint of the county, right? Because you need to be cautious not to put the court in a bad position, right? So if all these organizations, if you start getting organizations coming to you all asking for money, you guys are like, oh yes, absolutely, let's support this. And then you bring that to advisement under the Commissioners Court and they have to be the ones to deny these individuals. That's just not great community relationship. No, we're not, that's not what we're trying to do here, right? We want to support the arts in the way that we can, but that is limited. So I think it's just to be aware. I'm not saying you need to watch it, just be aware that those are when their meetings take place. Monday is important. It is the budget adoption for the court for the fiscal year 2026. Meeting with your appointed officials regularly, not sure if they have had an opportunity to set up meetings with you. This is just to make sure that you all are in alignment with their initiatives, where they're wanting to go, what they're wanting to do with their precinct. We would hate to be in a position where the elected official is telling us one thing and you all as their appointee are telling us something different. So just make sure that you all are on the same page. Participating in committee initiatives. So that's still under development, right? This is still new, but your participation when those do develop would be integral. Stephanie will talk about community meetings coming up in your precincts. Probably wise for you to all attend that. I'm not positive, but you're elected and or their staff may be present at those community meetings. Contributing to agenda meeting items, so that just means in the meeting that you're engaged, you're present with the meeting, and then of course attending functions as they arise. Any questions on this? Okay, so just a brief overview of the membership. It is an appointment of 5 members to the committee. Everybody is appointed, of course, by one elected official and the judge. They are 2-year terms. So you all were appointed August 5th, and so your term will expire in 2 years in 2027. As of right now, this committee will operate for 2 years, at which time it is scheduled to sunset unless the court finds it wishes to extend the committee's time. This is tied to the funding that's available right now. A chair and a vice chair will be selected by a majority vote. That's a 1-year term. You can be re-elected. We have an agenda item on today's agenda at the end of the meeting for you all to vote on these 2 office roles, if you will. And then staff, as we introduced earlier, we have a county attorney, and then administrative staff is the liaison and a clerk assigned to you.
I do have a question, actually.
Yes.
In that We no longer have an appointee for the judge. Is he working on somebody else?
To my knowledge, he was working on that.
Yes.
Okay. And so as soon as we get that individual, we will get on them for training. I'll get them on the court for appointment, and then they'll be president. Whatever that appointment is at the next meeting.
The terms is 2 years, can be renewed, or is just one term?
You can be renewed.
Okay.
For both, if you're voted as chair or vice chair, you can serve you can serve continual terms, and same with the court. The court can appoint you all for renewed terms, or reappointment, if you will. Any other questions on that? Procedural rules, we'll vote on a chair, and then if you all have watched Commissioner's Board or any sort of local government or government thing, motions and seconds. So in order for us to record any action, make sure it's official, we'll need a motion and a second for such action. It'll have to be posted on the agenda for action. So sometimes you'll see agenda items that are receive a presentation. That's just discussion item, no action will be taken for those items. Alternatively, you'll see other agenda items that say discuss and take appropriate action. In those ones, maybe action will be needed. Sometimes there won't be any action in those, but in those instances where there are, we'll ask for a motion, a second, and then we'll do a roll call vote for each action that's taken. And that's just for our records to ensure that we're recording all those actions accurately. If you want an agenda item placed on the agenda, you would work through me to let me know to get that on. I would need that no later than 11 calendar days prior to the meeting. The law in Texas just changed on September 1st. We have to post our public meetings with 3 business days notice. And so it's pretty far ahead when you look at weekends and holidays and things, all the other meetings that we're coordinating. But if that is something, we also put an agenda item, you'll see it today, to discuss the agenda items for the next meeting. So you can do it at that time as well. But sometimes things pop up between, just send me an email and we can get it on, so long as we're within the time frame.
Michelle,
yes.
If I may ask, like, for example, you're probably thinking, well, what are we going to ask her to put on the agenda? It might be your project. It might be permission to look at a project. So she would have to post it to make sure that we're in compliance, that everything is, you know what I mean? Let's say you want to build a sculpture and it's 30 feet tall and it weighs a ton. Well, we would have to say, okay, where are you going to put it? And so on and so forth. But that would be some of the items that you would put on.
Yes, but yeah, if those types of projects come up, but yes, Eddie, we do have to be very transparent. We're local government, and at the end of the day, we do work for the public, right? The public are who we serve. And so we do want to make sure that they're fully aware of what's being discussed so that individuals, like the next bullet point, have the opportunity to attend the meeting and to give their input or comments. And so we do allow public comment, not only for the meeting at the public comment section or item, anybody can make public comment on any item on the agenda as well. We do limit the time though because we can't let people just talk on forever. We do have to manage meetings. So speaking on behalf of the committee is not allowed. I am going to spend just a little bit of time on this one because we have gotten into situations where a committee member or somebody that's been appointed to a commission uses that title, if you will, to speak against something. So let me give you an example. If you, as a constituent, have issue with increased taxes, that's fine. That's your ability, you are entitled to your opinion. But to go to Commissioner's Court and make a public comment as an Arts Committee member against taxes when your court is voting to increase taxes potentially, it just doesn't jive. Okay, and so you can speak on behalf of the committee if it's an event sponsored by the committee, the county, you were there representing the committee. But in the public, a personal opinion, just please be very cautious not to misrepresent your representation on this committee. Does that make sense? Okay, and it's not saying like you're not allowed a personal opinion on things. Just if it is a personal opinion on something, make sure that that is personal. You're not using like your appointment to this committee to add to that. Does that make sense?
Right. So like we can still provide public comment, or we can still go, we can show up to Commissioner's Court as a constituent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But you cannot use your name and the title when you do
Your
that.
name. Or let's say somebody asks you to participate in an event as yourself, and you say, oh, I'm participating as an El Paso County Arts Committee member. If that's not a county-sponsored event, we can't have that. We've had instances where individuals have done that, and then the event was raising funds, and so automatically that puts the county in a situation where we do get legal involved, and we have to work around that. So that is a big topic that I must touch on. Any questions there? Okay. And I already talked on voting on agenda items, so I apologize. I should move that up. Okay, that's the end of our orientation. Any questions on that or the duties here or on this policy? Okay. Thank you all so much. Next item, please, Cecil.
Item 4C, receive a presentation from the Community Foundation on the arts projects in El Paso County.
Thank you, Caesar. Committee members, Michelle Cochran with the County Administration. I'd like to reintroduce you to Stephanie Matera with the El Paso Community Foundation, and let me get your presentation. Oh.
I'm also very glad that he's here because I would not know what to do.
I tried. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to finally meet you all. We've been kind of waiting for a while to have this meeting. And so we're excited to be here. Just to give you guys a little bit of background, we have signed an MOU with the County of El Paso. And just to give you guys confidence in the work that we'll be doing together, we do many public-private partnerships in a variety of areas, but also including the arts. We did an awesome project pre-COVID where we worked to bring professional artists into schools. We brought in Sebastian as one, the artist that made the X. We did a private-public partnership to do Art Space, which is HUD housing for artists in downtown El Paso that helps artists get off the ground. And probably one of the most sort of well-known, and actually the project that I spent 8 years of my life working on, was building La Nube, our new STEAM Discovery Center, which we made sure that inside had 6 local artist projects, permanent art projects inside La Nube. And so when the county decided to do this project, it's actually very similar to the call for artists and things that we did to choose and select the artists that we used for La Nube. And so we're really excited to partner with you all and partner with the county on this project. Perfect. So the attorneys did all the work to get a private-public partnership in place. It was actually very painless. Thank you so much. Between the El Paso Community Foundation and the county, the El Paso Community Foundation will be responsible for implementing the projects, supporting each commissioner on gaining public feedback, on setting up the timelines, the contracts with the artists, making sure they're fulfill their deliverables, all of those pieces. I'll let Michelle, I don't know how into the weeds she wants to go. It's on a reimbursable process on the budget for each project, but we'll take on the heavy lift of pushing the arts projects through. As Michelle has already designated, there are 6 projects. Each precinct will have a project, the judge will have a project, and then there's sort of a project that I think Betsy Keller will really oversee, and that is really to do some sort of art project with the parking garage, county, courthouse, maybe the walkway in between. We're not sure what that's going to look like. We'll get to all of that in a second, but those are the 6 projects. As Michelle also indicated, each project is being given a budget of $55,000. That is all for the art project itself. There is a separate budget to support things like permitting, or if we have to rent some equipment or things like that, that won't impede the artists from having the full funds needed to do the coolest project we can come up with. And the commissioners and you as Arts Commission and your recommendations, that can be divided into several projects. So it doesn't have to be one single project in the precinct, all $55,000 going to it. It could be 3 projects that each receive equal funds, or even a small project and 2 larger projects. The projects can be what I think most people will think of, which is a visual arts project, but it is not limited to that. It can be a performing arts project. It can be anything within the arts.
And that includes, so some commissioners have already established they want to run it kind of like more of a grant. So to fund research or programming for music or things like that. So those have been other things that have been identified. Like Stephanie said, it's not necessarily visual installation. They all have the autonomy to decide what avenue they want to do for those projects.
So we started by meeting with each of the precinct leaders. It took a little while, as I think Michelle mentioned, to get this commission put together. So to keep the project moving, we did do initial meetings with each of your commissioners. I don't know what they have or have not shared, but we'll begin to work with it. Now we'll include you as we meet with each precinct to work on the project. We wanted to make sure we understood from each commissioner what their vision was for their project. Like I said, some are doing multiple projects, some see one big project, some see it a project that they want to draw attention to bring people to areas within their precinct. Others are more about celebrating the culture within that particular precinct. It can be anything, but just sort of understanding what was the vision that each commissioner and county judge had in mind. And then sort of just also establishing some guidelines of the process that we're going through for the installation. We have submitted to the county, I believe it's with legal, a copy of an artist contract that will be used, that will be uniform across the board, how we'll send out a call for artists, again, so that we're transparent and consistent across the bases. That is all being reviewed, and hopefully we'll move quickly back to us to move the projects forward, but just establishing guidelines for all those pieces so that the artists in our community feel like it's a fair practice of how we're going about this. The way the RFP, which is a request for proposal, if you haven't heard those words, the world is an acronym, to me, chaos. Like if you're not in the know of the acronym. So I gave you some examples. So a county staff group, commissioner, judge could select a location, but then charge us with public input for the look and feel of what would happen. Or the county commissioner could say, I want a specific type or medium, like one commission, I don't know what I'm supposed to say or not, I didn't realize this was such a public meeting, but one commissioner was interested in potentially creating shade, but through an artist project. So they're kind of giving us an idea, and then we'll get public input on the location or what it could celebrate, right? Or the county commissioner could select specific projects, which one of the commissioners wants to do, where there are specific projects within their precinct that they want to see happen. And so that artist will still have to submit an official RFP. They'll have to meet all the guidelines. It'll just be, as opposed to an open call for artists, this will be a very targeted RFP to that particular project. They will also have to sign an artist contract just like everybody else, and they'll have to meet all the deliverables and the pay schedule just as is. It's just that the project itself has been pre-selected. So for gathering feedback, and I think this is a little bit what Michelle was referring to when we're in each of your precincts, we'd love you all to be part of it. Our commitment to each precinct is 3 engagements with the public. We're allowing the commissioner to kind of talk through what can that look like. So here are some ideas. We could do town hall meetings at libraries or community centers. We'll provide a survey in both English and Spanish. We'll bring iPads that they can fill out. We actually have translation devices, so we'll bring somebody with us so in real time translation can happen for those that would prefer to hear it in Spanish. We are working with the commissioners, and you guys will also give input. Where does it make sense to do those meetings? We talked when we were with Commissioner Holkeen about some possible places to do that. We will have a digital survey for each commissioner and or judge, depending on the project, which they can post a link to that on their websites. They each have a website. They all do community events, so they'll be able to take those out. Most of the commissioners have actually asked us for paper surveys as well, just in case. But just, a way that the public, whether they can get to a town hall meeting or not, that there's an open way that they can give their feedback to the project. We'll make sure that the surveys are available at any county events. The foundation will commit to going to the 3 events that the commissioner wants us to go to, but the surveys will be available at any county commissioner events. And you, as their representative, if you're supporting an event around or talking to people about arts, you'll have access to that link so that you can get that feedback. As I mentioned, they've asked us to do the paper surveys, and then we're just making sure that we're tailoring the feedback opportunities to each precinct. They know their constituents far better than we do because they engage with them on a regular basis. And so we want to make sure if there's already sort of an established means of communication with those constituents that we honor that and work within that system. Okay, so in the case where the art is not pre-identified, it's not a specific artist that a specific grant that the commissioner's giving, we do want the voting to be public. So once we receive the RFPs back, the El Paso Community Foundation will vet them to make sure they met all the requirements. We will not remove any proposal unless the proposal is not complete. So all we're going to do is if they didn't put a budget in, it will get pulled. We don't want to waste your all time or the public's time if the proposal is not complete. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to have collective votes. So you as the Arts Commission will review the proposals and you will collectively come out with one vote. The county representative, commissioner, or judge will have a vote, and then we'll aggregate a public vote. So we'll put it out on their website, the different proposals. You guys and the county judge will get the full proposals, the full narrative. We'll do a shortened version on the web for the public. This is actually how we did it for La Nube as well. And then we'll take those votes together to pick the artists that we'll move forward with and that project. And then once we solidify that, no more changes can be made at that point. We will be directed to make that project go from idea to completion. Does anybody have any questions on the voting piece? Just in the sense of the collective votes.
Not really in the voting piece, but are you gonna, can I get this file just so?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Stuff like that. Yeah, because I'm not gonna remember everything.
Of course, of course. No, yeah, I think Michelle can provide anything that you need.
And I'm happy to print or email it to you. I typically email, but if you would like us to print it out or
I think an email's okay.
Okay.
And then, as I mentioned, we will do installation oversight. So we will take care of all permitting. I had no clue when I started this how convoluted our maps of like, which is textile, what's county, what city, what belongs to the pueblo. Like, so it's not, and like, there can be like this little box and there's like little squares and literally you step from one to the other. So once we do all that, we'll be in charge of permitting. If for some reason, I don't assume we'll have any issues with county property, but if we have to go to an outside entity to get permitting, if for some reason that permit cannot be obtained, then we will bring it back to you all and the commissioner and saying this is not available. I think, Commissioner Holguin definitely wants to engage with the Pueblo. We've already gone on a tour together. We had a lot of fun in a van together. So I think we're building relationships to make that work. And we've met also with a city rep where there's some crossover property, but we will do our very best to secure whatever permits are needed, but we will bring back. We will be in charge of creating, having them sign the arts contract, determine the deliverables, their payment schedule, making sure that they stay to the timeline. Within reason. Obviously, things sometimes happen. We will communicate out if that timeline gets altered, the installation, and then we will coordinate the unveiling of all the artwork or the unveiling of the performance or the unveiling of the research, whatever it ends up being. We'll invite you, we'll engage you and your commissioner, and what does that look like? What does the celebration look like? You know, what do we want to do to unveil each precinct's piece or pieces? And then this just gives you the timeline. We're a little behind from where we hope to be because we really could not move forward until we met with you all. But we're going to spend this fall doing public feedback We'll be meeting with each commissioner again to firm up any wants that they have so that we put those guardrails when we go out to the public. We don't want to just open it up and then have the public give a comment that doesn't match what a location or an artist or something that the commissioners want to do. We want to put those guardrails. So the goal is to spend our fall doing that. We will write all the RFPs, and our goal again is in January to send out the call for artists. Depending on the project, the timeline for how long they will get to submit it back. So for like an artist that's been already picked a specific thing, they might only get 3 to 4 weeks to submit the RFP. When it's a more open call, more open-ended call, we might do 6 to 8 weeks. We'll make that determination on the project to make sure it's fair for artists in the community. We'll use all of our tentacles to get those RFPs out. We'll post everything on the county, on all the commissioner, and then we will look to you all as liaisons into the artistic community here in El Paso to help get it out so people know that the RFP is available for them to apply to. Our goal is hopefully a spring selection process. Again, it's just going to depend on how all this goes, and then look to have all the artist contracts signed and start installation on this in the summer. Then they'll have a year to do the art or present the presentation or whatever it ends up being. It will happen during that year. We do want to work with the county to stagger the unveilings. We want to make sure each project gets its own spotlight. We don't want one overshadowing another. So we'll work with you all and with your schedules and the commissioner and the judge's schedule so that they can be at the ones they want to be at. But we want to stagger it and give each artist their moment in the spotlight. The goal is to have everything installed by the summer of 2027. I do want to state this is a self-imposed timeline that we set with the county through the MOU that we had 2 years. I can tell you, having built La Nube, timelines with installations could mean nothing, and you know, there's a flood, and so then, you know, you can't get to the area. Like, so we will be reasonable because we also want these to be amazing projects at the end of the day. And so again, I will communicate with you all, with the commissioners and the judge, with Michelle, any hiccup in the timeline, so you all will know it, but we're not going to compromise the quality of whatever the project is just to say that we absolutely made that summer 2027. Like I said, we're already about a month behind where we had hoped to be on the original timeline. It just took a while to get all the appointees for you all and get this meeting on the books, and we could not move forward until we did this meeting. And so we had hoped to start in August, so we're about a month off the original timeline, but we will communicate with you on a regular basis through Michelle, and you're always welcome, again, within the rules of the county, and Michelle can help me with this. I'm happy to give you my cell phone, my email. You're welcome to communicate with me at any time. I'll be the point person at the foundation. Michelle will help guide us to make sure that we follow all of the transparency and public meeting rules, but you are welcome. You have full ability to contact me about any of this.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Once a project is complete, any thoughts on how we're going to tie it back to the county, or are we?
Yeah, so the county will own the art. It's going to be in the artist contract. I don't know if you've already started reviewing that contract, but the county will own it. We are requiring the artist to give a 2-year warranty period on the art. So for the first 2 years, if it's a fixed piece, they'll have to provide a maintenance plan for the county, and they will have to do any repairs in the first 2 years. But the county will own the artwork, and you will have the ability to promote it, put it on your websites, put it on t-shirts, whatever, as long as you don't alter the integrity of the art. Like, so you can't, like, the easiest one is a mural. You can't, like, produce it in another color. Like, you've got to honor the original artwork, but these are commissions. You are buying this art thing for the county, so the county will have full ownership.
So we'll have the artist's name displayed?
Yes. Yes, and we'll work in their artist contract. And again, I don't know where the review process is. The artist will get to say how their name, like, do they want their middle name? Do they not? The name of the artwork, a brief narrative, we'll create a sign for it. So they'll give those parameters. And then what we did at La Nube, and I'll wait and see what the county attorneys come back with in the contract, is that we asked the artist to give us like a short bio, some bullet points about the project itself that we then have access to use for all news releases, news media, all those pieces.
So how does the piece tie back to the county? Are you gonna have a county seal somewhere? on the piece of
I'll
art?
work with Michelle. The city, all the projects I've done in full transparency have been within the city. We're actually about to do a project with the city of Sunland Park. So it'll be whatever your standard requirement is for the signage.
And again, this is all new to the county, and so I'm sure that will develop as it comes along because, as we've stated, not everything will be an installation.
Right.
Some are grants, some are other performance pieces, and so I'm sure at the time when signage is part of the development, that may or may not be contributed.
I can share what the city requires in their signage as a starting point if that works for you all. I can work with your comms team if you have a graphic designer. Certainly the seal can be on it. The city requires the current mayor and current city council names to be listed on the signs.
Oh.
You may or may not want that. It may not be appropriate. I think we're going to have to take this as we go and consult, but you will work with the artist to determine what that signage and that credit looks like.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that is not
That's a great
determined at
question.
this time, but definitely one thing to look at.
And you guys might have building signage that you use if you open a building. We could use that also as a jumping point. I will say with La Nube and with Art Space, because it was a more creative space, we asked the city to maybe give up the brass old-fashioned sign and do, like, we still use the city seal, but we updated and made it look a little more creative. I think this is something that you all as the Arts Commission could help the county think about, like what makes sense that has some sort of identifying that the public knows this is a county project, but maybe has a little more creative spin than some of the, you know what I'm talking about, the sort of almost Baroque-esque brass plaques.
Right, and that may also depend too on location. Like some of the projects are within county parks, so it may be redundant to include county signage.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's still TBD.
So the way the artist contract has been set up, and again, haven't gotten the comments back from county attorneys yet, is the main part of the contract, although what I call all the legal language, is the standard for all artists. But then there's an Appendix A that has the specifics to that project because they're going to be all different. And so my guess is that once we pick the final pieces that we're doing or projects that we're doing, then we'll sit down as a committee and talk about in their contract what is the signage for the credit or signage for that project. Because if it's a performance, which I know one of the county commissioners is interested in a performance, maybe it's just signage that happens at the performance.
Maybe at
itself.
the
program.
program. Thank you.
Yeah, so we can work all that, and we'll respect all county guidelines and procedures. And if they don't exist, this is a great thing for this commission to take on, to think about in terms of arts and culture. What is that sort of look and feel that makes sense to put with these projects?
And for all unveilings, we would work with our in-house communications team who has their own process for these types of things. So at that point, there are more resources available for us to do that.
Do you all have any questions for me?
I guess the only, well, kind of like a question that I have is, those $55,000 that every single one is getting, person is getting, that includes also, because I know it costs like having the media, like from the county to broadcast from a place, or is included, is separate? The 55 is only for the art?
Correct. Okay. So the way we have this agreement set up, that $55,000 is reserved for the artist and the art piece. As Stephanie mentioned, we have separate funding for permits and things like that because we didn't want to affect the funding piece of that. And then internally, we do have our own communications team. And so any county staff isn't necessarily
so
like a separate line item.
That's going to be part of the...
Right, like we're, the court establishing this committee and committing to this also commits county staff and resources to it. Right, and so you would have our communications team who works with the media and things like that. Now, any, I don't know, sort of I don't know what sort of publication would necessarily cost money, but we have our own social media and things like that would all be handled through us as well. Trying to think of what might be an additional cost, but if there is an additional cost, our communications team exists and has a communications budget that I imagine would be utilized for this as well. But no, the 55,000 was emphasized that be for the art and the artist itself. We do not want to take fees and other things from them.
So the artist will submit a budget that'll include an artist fee, like a creative fee for their work, any material or supply costs. There'll be a line item if they want to subcontract out. Let's say they're going to do a cool piece with steel and they need to subcontract a welder to come in and do some welding, or somebody to attach something to the ground that's not in their purview as an artist. Those are the things that they'll include in their budget. And then separately, site preparation, all the feedback stuff, when we go out into the public to do the public feedback, all of that will come out of this separate bucket of dollars that we have set aside with the county to take care of those things. And we'll just, this is going to be, like she said, this is a pilot project. And while we have run a very similar project for La Nube, I think we're all going to learn a lot during this first project, which will be awesome. You guys get to, the coolest part about these types of things is you guys get to help build the foundation. And it may be shaky at times as we're figuring it out, but you get to be part of something really super cool. And I don't know of any other project like this that's ever been done to give local artists. And that's the other thing, is only local artists will be eligible to apply.
That was important for the court.
And equally important to the foundation. You must have residents here in order to, within the county.
Right, and we wanted to, obviously the court wanted to keep that funding that they were adamant about setting aside within El Paso County. So.
And we will get requests, somehow it gets out. And we had all kinds of people who were like, well, I'm there a month a year, or I still have family there. And so we'll use the word residence, that their main residence is here. Now, if they are a site artist who gets hired by other places to go put art in and are gone, for a couple weeks to do that, that's fine. It's just that their residence needs to be here. This is for supporting the amazing talent that we have in El Paso.
Yes, and you can see from everything Stephanie has communicated to you, we're very excited to partner with them with this, because they are absolutely the experts in this. We don't have resources internally, and they've done this so many times and can do so efficiently. So very excited for this.
Any other questions for me? Awesome. Well, I look forward to working with each of you. We'll be setting up meetings shortly now that you're connected with your commissioners to kind of review where they are and sort of thinking about, I guess you kind of got a little head start. We won't tell everybody. So where they're thinking about, and then you can start engaging in the process. And I'll let Michelle share my contact information, and I guess maybe give us parameters on how we can, how we're allowed to communicate outside of the rules of the court.
So long as it's one-on-one, again, it's fine, just not a group of 3, because that establishes a quorum within this committee. But I would defer to your elected who appointed you to see what the communication may look like. Some may defer entirely to you to communicate with Stephanie on this, and others maybe want to be more involved. So I would defer to your elected on that. And then I'm happy to connect whomever. Okay. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
Yes. I'm very excited that we finally got this meeting.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Thank you for giving up your time to this project.
Item number 4D, discuss the intent and timeline of the Arts Master Plan.
Good afternoon, committee members. Michelle Cochran with County Administration. So I touched a little bit on the master plan. So if any of you are familiar with any sort of master plan, I'll use a parks master plan, for example, right? That's when they come in, they assess the state of a city or county's parks, get community input, assess the state of things like age, etc. And then they develop a master plan, what the county should invest in, and then that's it. They go from there, right? So the Arts Master Plan and our research for the arts is necessary for us to secure future funding. So a lot of federal arts grants specifically require a master plan to do that. They have to submit the master plan so they can see, I guess, essentially what this money may be going toward. So you're on the ground floor of this. We're working with a vendor to secure being the provider for the master plan. But just as the agreement with the Community Foundation we have, the agreement with them includes meeting with you all too and getting your input on that. But there is groundwork that has to be done before that. So on an administrative side, I'm working on the purchasing and the contract, and then they have to come in and assess before they can even present to you. But that is the intent of a master plan, Arts Master Plan specifically. And then the timeline of it, the vendor that we're working with right now from start to finish, we're hoping for 6 months total timeline. And so that does include assessing El Paso, looking at everything, getting community feedback, and then coming back with a plan and what the county should do. And then you all would come into play. They would present this to you all. This is where you would make recommendations to identify what would be the better route to go with this. So this would be one where you would definitely want to be in touch with your elected to make sure that not only their interests are being represented, but this, keep in mind, this is separate from these arts projects that we're doing with the Community Foundation, right? This is like the grand, I don't even know how many years, 5, maybe even 10-year plan out to where we can identify where the county should go with arts, and then we would look for funding for those types of things to make those things come to fruition. So just wanted to share that with you because these are the 2 big things that you all are tasked with at this point in time. Any questions on that? So I'm at the point where I've received a quote. I just need to get it through purchasing. We're on hold right now because just the budget time that we're in is the end of our fiscal year. And so I'll be able to get that on the court's agenda in early October, and then we can move forward from there. Okay? These are pictures of E real quick.
Item number 4E, discuss and establish regular meeting day, time, and frequency.
Good afternoon, committee members. Michelle Cochran with County Administration. So this is the time where we would establish your meeting date, time, and frequency. As you saw, it's tough to get people together. And so now that I have you all in the room, we would like to do this. So some commissions, or boards, they meet monthly, some quarterly. Bi-monthly is even an option. As you can hear from the Community Foundation, and I will tell you from the Arts Master Plan, there's a lot of groundwork that has to be done for us to even have things to come brief you all back on. So a lot of that groundwork is going to be being done, of course, in the background between that time. So we would like to establish the date, time, and then, of course, the frequency. I know we're meeting on Monday today, but this is because it's the time that worked. This will not be a day that works for us because Commissioners Court meets on Mondays. We're under construction right now, so when this was an available date, I took it because we needed to meet. But is there a day of the week that works best for all 4 of you? Without Mondays being an option.
Tuesdays is bad for me.
Tuesdays are bad for you? Okay, any other no days for you all?
Probably just Friday and Saturday.
I would say like Friday is the best day for me.
Fridays are
no,
no for you?
I can't do it Friday.
Can't do Friday?
No.
So Wednesday and Thursday?
We're down to
first
Wednesday
one?
and Thursday
Down to
now.
Wednesday and Thursday?
Wednesday and Thursday.
Good afternoon.
Wednesday afternoon?
I always have to be after 2 p.m.
Okay, so Wednesday or Thursday afternoon is what we have so far. After 2 p.m. regardless of the day of the week, is that true, right? Okay. And does after 2 p.m. on Wednesday or Thursday work for all of you?
Yes.
Okay. I guess depending on which week or what the frequency is, Commissioners Court meets the 3rd Thursday of every month. And so I would just ask that we stay away from that date, that Thursday in particular, just to help with coordination on my team's side. And then before we establish that, what about frequency? Every 2 months, 6 weeks, month? What are you all?
Monthly.
And you can change later on. Let's say first, let's meet a month from now, for example.
Well, we would like to have a regular established schedule because we do publish this to the public.
Okay.
That can be changed. We do an annual agenda item, but typically for all of our boards and commissions, we like to have an established date.
Every month is fine.
Monthly? Okay. Wednesday or Thursday. After 2.
Can we keep it at 3? Is possible?
Yeah, 3 works.
It would 3 days.
Yeah, there's both.
And then looking at y'all's calendars, like first, second, third, or fourth Wednesday. Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Just to be safe, I think. So Wednesday, 3, and then which each month, Wednesday, 30. It's the first, second, third, or fourth Wednesday. What works best for you all?
Third Wednesday.
Third?
So the 15th.
No, the next one will be the 15th.
15th.
Does that include
Well,
brothers?
Huh?
Does that include brothers?
No, because I do have women's commission in the morning, so it would be a full day of meetings for me, but that's okay. Agendas will be doing the same
For
day.
us, it might.
Oh, you have risk reward.
On the third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday.
So it could be maybe the first Wednesday.
How about second? Okay, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. If we could stay away from the third, I apologize. We have 2 other committees already on that day. So would first, second, or fourth Wednesday work?
So in this case, it will be October 8th, the first meeting? Or the
If you do first Wednesday of October, it would actually be October 1st.
say the first or the second Wednesday?
So if you do the first Wednesday, it would be October 1st. If you do the second, it would be October 8th. October has 5 weeks, so that might be a bad example. Typically, months have 4 weeks.
The 8th for 3?
Yeah.
That works.
Okay, so second Wednesday
Second
of every month at 3 p.m.
And for December, for everybody, or for November, that would be November 12th. And in December, that's going to end up being December 10th. So.
And I'll send a recurring calendar invite for that day and time. So second Wednesday, 3 p.m. each month. Second Wednesday of each month. So this is one where we will take official action since you are establishing the daytime and frequency of your committee, just so that we can make it public and have it recorded in the record. So if we can have a motion to set the Arts Advisory Committee meetings from the second Wednesday of every month at 3 p.m. please. So one of you will just say.
I want to make the motion to have the meetings the second Wednesday of each month at 3 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Aguilar. So motion, Mr. Aguilar, and then a second, just say a second. Okay, second by Sydney Gaglio. And then Caesar, would you do the roll call vote?
Yes.
Gagliard?
Yes.
Mr. Reyes, yes. Yes, thank you.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. And motion carries.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Yay, first vote in the books.
Item number 4F, discuss and acknowledge committee terms.
Michelle Cochran with County Administration. So we went over this in your orientation. This is just for you all to be reminded that it's the 2-year term, and then you can be reappointed should the court reestablish the committee after the initial 2 years that it has been established. And so just a reminder, because I know you guys are here volunteering your time, and we're so grateful for that. And it is a 2-year commitment. Next item, Caesar.
Item number 4G, discuss agenda items for next meeting.
Michelle Cochran with County Administration. So as of right now, more than likely what will be the recurring agenda items for every meeting will be an update on the arts project per precinct, and then that may include maybe a calendar of events for the community meetings that would be coming up for them. And then the item for me for the Arts Master Plan. Anything right now that you all are aware of that you would like to add to the agenda for next meeting? Okay, I'll keep those 2 recurring items on. If anything should come up between now and then, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'm happy to get it on. Just remember, 11 calendar days in advance, and your next meeting is October 8th.
So that's Monday through Friday. You don't want us to count?
No, 11 calendar days.
Calendar, okay.
So it's actually 7 business days.
Okay.
I am adding weekends on that because, you know, no restaurant there.
Just making sure.
Yes. So we would have to post the agenda for this meeting, for your next meeting, on Thursday, October 2nd is when we have to post, which means we need time to review if there's any like presentations. So we ask that you get it to us. Maybe that Friday, September 26th before, or that Monday latest, Monday, September 29th for that meeting. Next item.
Item 4H, discuss and take appropriate action regarding the selection of chair and vice chair for the Pilot Arts Advisory Committee.
Michelle Packerman, County Administration. So this is the office role, if you will. This is not your term on this committee. This is just for this. So the chair runs the meetings, right? So kind of everything that I'm doing right now, like asking them to read the next agenda item in, the chair would do that. Sometimes, you know, they guide it like, hey, we need a motion for this. Does somebody want to make this? They'll just call it. So this is just kind of open if you guys want to discuss amongst yourself, if anybody has an interest or not an interest and they want to tell, you all want to let each other know. I know this is the first time some of you are meeting in person, but you can self-nominate, you can nominate one another, and then we will take a roll call vote for each of those positions. So we'll start with the chair. Any nominations for chair?
I'm trying to remember the names. I know you.
That's okay. Javier, Sydney, Eddie, Albert.
I have one more question actually before we do this.
Sure.
In the event that we get our 5th committee member, that person, could they potentially come in and be like, no, I want to be chair, or is it they're not here, so then it's Chris?
Correct. They're not appointed at this point in time, and so this is going to be official action of the committee.
Right.
Next year, we'll bring this item back, and they're more than welcome to self-nominate.
I would like to nominate Sydney to be the chair.
Okay. So you accept the nomination?
Sure.
Is there, that's a motion, second from Mr. Alvarez, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Aguilar,
Yes.
Ms. Gaglio,
Yes.
Mr. Reyes.
Yes.
Mr. Aguilar.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carries.
Wonderful, congratulations.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Can I be a little fussy and let you all know that the second G in my last name is silent, so it's Gallio.
Thank you.
Thank
No,
you.
thank you for letting us know, not fussy at all. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, Vice Chair, any nominations for Vice Chair?
I would like to nominate Albert. Right, Albert is your name?
Yes.
Right, yeah. I like to nominate Albert.
Albert, do you accept the nomination? Wonderful. All right, motion from Chairwoman Gallio. Do we have a second for?
Second.
Thank you, Javier.
Okay, Mr. Aguilar,
Yes.
Ms. Gaglio,
Yes.
Mr. Reyes.
Yes.
Mr. Aguilar.
No.
Thank you, motion carries.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations to our Chair and Vice Chair. You all have taken your first official action, the Arts Committee. Thank you so much. And Caesar, would you announce adjourning the meeting, please?
This concludes today's meeting at 4:15 p.m.